Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from FastGrowth Online. Thank you for downloading this very important workbook entitled Sell Your Business Effectively. Most of us have been on a journey, a fast growth journey, from improving our existing business and surviving what has been a very difficult situation, but now begin to grow, growing our business and thriving, and then finally selling our business for a high value. And this particular workbook concentrates on that selling process. It's linked to the other two workbooks, which is deciding your market value and also grooming your business for sale. In many ways, this is the culmination of, for many of you, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of effort. A lot of us dream of selling our business for a high value and then doing what we want to do, having financial freedom. Here, I'm in the south coast of England, in Dorset, and many of us dream to have our own large yacht. If you can see that one there, that's off the coast of Dorset, Swanage, with that beautiful Union Jack sail. Others have other goals. We'll talk about that later on. Today, I'm joined by Tim Bentle. Tim is the principal of Tim Bentle LLP. Thank you, Tim, for giving up your valuable time and expertise. Before we start, could you just share with us what Tim Bentle LLP does?
Certainly. We specialise in providing strategic advice to owner-managed businesses with a particular focus on professional service firms.
Thank you. And prior to setting up that business, which is your own business, you were with a very large firm of accountants.
I was indeed with a national firm called BDO. I was based in their Southampton office, which was a significant size. And I was managing partner of that office for 10 years and led the firm through a significant period of change and development.
And you had a large number of clients from small and medium-sized companies?
Yes, indeed. Throughout that time, I was still advising the broad base of clients which you mentioned, which included professional firms, but also a number of owner-managed businesses through the whole spectrum.
And many of those were grown and sold?
Yes, not everyone had aspirations to sell their business in the near future, but many did. And working with them to groom them towards sale and then eventually helping them through the actual process of exit was certainly one of the more interesting parts of my role.
Super. The purpose of this workbook is to inspire you and to assist you to sell your business. Yes, by all means, think about using brokers and advisors, but this workbook will give you some of the key skills to do that if you want to do it on your own. And if you're using advisors, it will help you manage those advisors a lot more effectively. So we're going to set the context, why this is so important in a moment, and then we're going to share with you a couple of valuable tips using the workbook Sell Your Business Effectively, which you've downloaded. So Tim, I'm going to ask you to read the title page of this particular workbook for us, please.
Certainly. This is the Fast Growth workbook for you to sell your business effectively. The purpose of this workbook is for you to plan to sell your business effectively. The goal is that when you sell your business, you achieve a high sale value rapidly and smoothly.
Okay, that's the goal. All these workbooks have confidential at the top, but for this one, for very obvious reasons, this is highly confidential. And you may not want to share this with very many people inside your company. Okay, and also most of us have got businesses where parts of it could be sold rather than the whole thing. So think about which part you want to sell. Make sense?
Yep. And if you've got more than one that you're thinking of doing, then you probably want to do one of these for each of them.
Yeah, and download it and do that. Yes, absolutely. So what's the strategic problem? Page 1. And I think you alluded to this just now. Clearly there are some spectacular successes. We've just heard the purchase of YouTube by Google. But on the second paragraph there, and this is a quote from a leading firm of brokers in London,
81% of the potential sales of small to medium-sized businesses collapse before completion. That's a good figure, isn't it?
Yeah, horrible, isn't it? I got that figure from a very well-known firm of business brokers in London.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sobering, very sobering.
So why is that?
Why is that? Experience of these stalled and therefore very costly attempts to sell their businesses show that business leaders often fail in three key areas. Firstly, they are unclear about their goals for selling their businesses. Secondly, they are unrealistic about the true value of their business. And thirdly, they select the wrong business advisors, accountants and lawyers.
So what we're saying is, for our viewers, rate your ability to sell your business effectively against these three strategic problems using the boxes below on a scale 1 to 10. How clear is the goal? How realistic is the business value? And how effective are your ideal advisors likely to be? And then draw your own strategic conclusions. From your experience of working with lots of sales when you were at BDO, what thoughts have you got on those?
I think in terms of the goal, there's usually a reasonable amount of clarity around that. Value, I think, is probably an area where most businesses maybe have an aspiration, an idea of what they'd like to get, but actually realistically, perhaps that's slightly different. And ideal advisors, they will perhaps turn to their existing advisors as a first point of call, naturally, particularly if there's a long-standing relationship, but that's not necessarily the right answer.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, thanks for that. So that's the problem. What's the strategic problem? And then going back to your goal on page 2, decide your goal and preferred type of buyer. Be very clear about it. That's my goal, and that's my preferred type of buyer. Okay? And be very clear about the reasons. There's a couple of reasons there. You might just like to share a couple reasons from the top there, the goals.
Yes, I mean, it could be, as you mentioned on the front page here, that it could be that you have a non-core part of the business that you want to sell. That's point B there. Or it could be D, and this is perhaps a more common one, where it's around providing financial security for the retirement of the founders or the existing shareholders, to give you the flexibility, give you the freedom to do other things.
So you've grown a business to a certain level. You're still not an old person, but maybe you just reached the level of competence you've got for that size of business.
Yeah, or maybe you just lost a bit of passion for it, lost a bit of interest for it.
Okay, all different reasons. And getting people to think through their own reasons and then setting a goal for that. And then linked to that very much is decide your preferred type of buyers. And this is deeply personal. Some possible types of buyers are included there from A to E. Again, would you like to share with us a couple from that list, Tim?
Let's talk about, firstly, A, trade competitors. I think that those most businesses know who their competitors are and know a little bit about their operations. And sometimes I think the competitors can see the most opportunity with a business that they understand. I just jumped to the bottom, E, wealthy individuals. I think there are a number of both individuals and groups of individuals that we have in the UK that are looking for businesses to buy, looking for businesses that will provide them with a return over a period of time. Maybe looking for a bit of involvement, a bit of personal interest, perhaps in a non-executive capacity as well. Those are very good source of a potential buyer.
And the type of buyer may determine the fate of the company. So you've built this business up, and you might say, well, actually, who would I prefer to take it to the next stage? Getting that right. Okay, so get your goal right and the type of buyers, crucial. And you may need to go around this loop a couple of times. Bear in mind, this is something you'll only do once or twice in your life. Spend some time thinking about that.
And I think some people I've found that actually they are only interested in selling to quite a narrow group or sector. You know, they, having nurtured and grown this business, as you say, over a period of time, they don't want to sell it. They want it to be in hands, if you like, that they're comfortable with. So it becomes an emotional attachment which they have to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks. So the second hint is decide your market value, and not the only way, but a way of doing that is on page 3, which is calculate your profit multiplier. There's a very simple and easy to use one-pager on that, which does, by the way, form part of another important workbook called Plan Your Desired Market Value. But here I've extracted it just for this page. Very simple to use, isn't it?
It is simple to use. Would you like me just to...
maybe for the readers, just to talk
I think
through.
Just how, in terms of a tip as to how to use this, what we've done here is to group the 5, down the left-hand side, 5, I beg your pardon, yes, 5 areas. If we take the first one, there's a range 1 to 5 of numbers there, and this is designed to illustrate a spectrum between 1, where the directors and I are essential to the business, and 5, the other end of the scale, where we have an autonomous management team in place. What the intention is for you to be able to identify where you are in your business on that scale, and then to use the scores appropriately.
So the maximum you could score would be 5 lots of 5, which is 25, and it says there on the right hand side, multiply by 4, which comes to 100, and then divide by 10, and that would give you a multiplier. So your operating profit times your profit multiplier will give you a value. And this is something useful to do in leading up to the sale. Very useful. And there may be other things as well. Some businesses are very asset rich, so that would apply. At the bottom, the number 6, and maybe other factors. This is a way of deciding the value of a business. It's not the only way, but I recommend it. It's very simple and it works. So the third hint, is probably the most important of all. Is on page 5. Select your ideal advisors. Certainly most of us will use an accountant, either our own or somebody else's, to help. Secondly, some of us will use a lawyer. Many of us will use a lawyer. Again, it might be our own lawyers or it might be a specialist. And thirdly, sometimes we use a business advisor in addition to the lawyer and accountant. These are people that have a great database of potential buyers for the company. There are some pros and cons of not using a sale advisor, and there's definitely some good reasons and some bad, not so good reasons. So what I've done for you there is to help you assess which accounts to use using a simple little box exercise. And then the question is, so will you use your current accountants to assist you? Yes or no? If not, who will you use? Lawyers. And then we're looking at their reputation in selling the business, their reputation for selling the business, and their understanding of your business priorities. Not all lawyers are that flexible and so forth. This is crucial to have somebody you can work in partnership with. And then finally, can I ask you to just read the criteria for the business sale advisors?
Yes, 3 criteria here. Their performance as true advisors, not just brokers. By brokers, we mean people who will introduce you. So this is people who can give true advice. B, their reputation for selling businesses like yours. Some people are very clear about having people who actually sold businesses of the same. It might be a hotel, for example. You might want people who've sold hotels before. And C, the size and relevance of their database of contacts. That's what sort of network do they have? What sort of database do they have of potential buyers who might be interested?
Great. And that's a great little one-page checklist to use to select your ideal advisors. Okay. So
And it doesn't matter, if I can just interrupt, it doesn't matter if you don't know the answers to those questions. You don't have people in mind. It's asking you to rate where you are so that you can go away and do some work on it if you don't have those details handy.
So just to sum up, the 3 hints are: decide your goal and the type of buyer, 2, calculate your market value and be realistic about it, and thirdly, find your ideal advisors. And as it says at the beginning of this workbook, at the very beginning here, to sell your business for a high value sale, rapidly, 6 months rather than 6 years, and smoothly.
Yeah, and I'd like to emphasise that from my practical experience. It's not just about the value. Most certainly commercial lawyers involved in this area will tell you that a long drawn out process typically not only is very emotionally draining, but it's also distracting from the point of view of the performance of the business. But it often results in a lower sale price. So it's speed and ease of the process are very, very important in maintaining or maximising your value, I think.
You and I know a number of business leaders that have sold their businesses. Some of them are bikers, and what do they love to do? They don't want to go off on a yacht. They want to go off in their BMWs. Here's one here, heading off to Europe in the sunshine. Isn't that beautiful? Would you like to hold it?
Absolutely. Carry off into the distance.
Financial freedom, your own motorbike. Tim, thank you so much for giving me so much of your valuable time for this workbook and also for the others related to this.
It's been a pleasure.
I really appreciate it. You've just set up this business. I'm sure you want to grow it and have a great time growing it and possibly selling it in the future. And may I wish you every success with that.
Thank you very much indeed.